Okay guys, a short video, and we're going to talk about learning how to write equivalent fractions, decimals, and percents, and more than just learning how to do it, why we would want to do it. So let's look at our next slide here, and this is semi-true. I'm making some of this stuff up, but not all of it. So I play Fantasy Baseball League every once in a while, and you draft players. You pick different players that you want on your team. And I had to choose between two players, Ichiro Suzuki and Miguel Cabrera. Both really good hitters, but very different. And I just wanted to choose the hitter with the best average, that got on base the most by hitting. But I couldn't find any numbers like batting average. I only could find the number of hits compared to plate appearances. So let's see if you can help me out. And here's what I found. I found that Miguel Cabrera here, he got 195 hits out of 576 at-bats. So 195 out of 576. I can write it as a fraction, right? Part to whole, the amount he got hits, the total amount. And then I want to figure out the batting average. Here's Ichiro's numbers. 224 over 695. And I want to find out batting average. It's really hard to compare these two fractions because I just can't tell who is getting on more often, who has a better average, who has a better chance of getting on per one at bat. So the way I can do this, figure it out, is I can change it into a decimal. So I can divide 195 by 576 and see what I get. So I'm going to do that over here. I'm going to go 5, excuse me, I already showed you, I'm going back. So I want my pen here. So I would just do some long division. 500, disappearing ink. 576 divided by 195. I'm sorry, 195 divided by 576. This is my divisor, this is my dividend. So now I have to struggle with my long division because it's been so long. Problem like this, please bust out your calculator. No need to do it in your head. So this is going to go in 3 times. 3 times 576. I'm going to use my nifty-difty calculator in just a second. Let's pull that up here. I need to get my calculator right there. Here's my calculator, and I wanted 576 or 195 divided by 576. And this is what I get, a huge decimal, if you can see it. It's a really big decimal. It starts 0.3, which you have trouble seeing, 385,416. So I am going to round to just the, I am just going to round to the 1,000th place, this one here. So I'm going to look at the 5, it tells me to round up. So here we go. It was like this. I'm going to round to this place. So I'm going to look at that number. It tells me to round that up. So this is about 0.339. Now I want to know if this is better or worse than that. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to divide 695. How many times does it go into 224? And let's do nifty-difty calculator again, right there. 224 in the calculator. 695, and it gives me another big number, 0.3223. So let's put that in. It was 0.3223. I'm going to round here. Look at that number. It stays the same. So, when I compare these numbers, good old Miguel Cabrera, even though it looks like he has less hits, he has a better average. So I would want to choose Miguel Cabrera. And that's how we can convert fractions to decimals simply by dividing. You divide the numerator by the denominator, the top by the bottom. Okay? So we want to divide. Now let's look at another situation that might be important to you guys. Because it's about grades, and I know you love grades. Here we have me and Mr. Horner. I gave about 15 A's for every 100 students I saw. Mr. Horner gave 3 A's for every 20 students. And you want to know who has a higher percentage of A's you want to get in that teacher's class. Well, I can write this as a fraction. 15 out of 100 for Mr. Wall. 3 out of 20 for Mr. Horner. Okay? I could change it to a decimal like we did last time. I could divide, or what might be easier is just to change this to an equivalent fraction. Oh, I lost my pen. There we go. I could just change this to an equivalent fraction, make this 100 at the bottom, and I know I did 20 times 5 to get to 100. 3 times 5 is 15. Hey, look at that. Both Mr. Horner and I gave 15% of our grades an A. Or we could write it 0.15. Or we could say 15 over 100 or 3 over 20. All of those are the same quantity. We're talking about the same number represented as a percent, as a decimal, as a fraction. So you can write equivalent fractions with a common denominator to compare numbers with common denominator, and that will allow you to compare numbers as well. Okay, so that's another way. You can go fraction to decimal, or you can just compare. And I want you to help me one more time, and this is your homework, is to figure this out and to come to class with an answer written out in your notebook. So last year I was trying to decide who to root for in last year's World Cup. I was choosing between Chile, and Peru. And I wanted to root for the team with the best chance of winning, based on their past performance. So I didn't want to lose. I don't like being a loser. I like to win. So what I did, I looked to see the wins per total games, and this is what I found. Chile won 49 games out of a total of 71. Peru won 29 out of 42. Can you come to class tomorrow and tell me who should I root for? Make sure you justify your thinking. How did you figure it out? Okay? A little bit on changing fractions to decimals. We'll talk about going from decimals to fractions next class. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.